What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Bionic Podcast. Your host, Jules Melly here, coming at you live. I just want to welcome all my listeners on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anybody watching on YouTube. If you guys are listening on any of the listening platforms, stop what you're doing, go to the YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Team Bionic is trying to get the Bionic Podcast to 100 subscribers. We are at 80. Let's get us there. And I have a really awesome guest today. For anybody listening that you can't see him, I'm going to do a little bit of an introduction for my good friend. And now, the moment you have all been waiting for. 5 rounds in the UFC lightweight division. Anyways, I'm welcoming my best friend, my brother, Michael Muto. What's going on, buddy?
What's up, buddy?
Welcome to the podcast. Say hi to everybody.
How's it going, everyone?
So, guys, this is a podcast that honestly has been a year in the making. We were just talking about this earlier, but I bought these mics in June of 2020. It is now May 28th. 2021, a couple days away from June, and so this has literally been a year in the making. I'm super excited to have you on, bro, and we have a really cool podcast coming up for you guys because me and Michael have been through a lot as friends, as brothers, as teammates, and all this different stuff. So, yeah, bro, I just want to, bring you on the podcast because, everybody might be like, oh, well, COVID is still a thing in Ontario or whatever. At this point in time, Michael and I have been working out together. He's been coming over to help me get my prep workouts in and stuff like that. So I really appreciate you, bro. We are both vaccinated. So, things are obviously a bit different. Mm-hmm. But we've been waiting a long time to make sure that it is okay for the general public to understand that, like, you can, safely hang out with one friend or whatever it may be during COVID time. So let's get the podcast started, buddy. Let's have a nice cheers. Tell the audience what we're drinking.
Some nice espresso, obviously.
Me and Michael are like at least 7 spros a day, bro. It's that is a religion to us, guys. Coffee is something that like we are like super passionate about, and both being Italian, and you're also half
Portuguese, baby.
Yeah. So I mean,
pork and cheese.
We half relate to each other, I guess. But no, he has like a huge addiction to espresso. Me too. Like the boys have been drinking espresso since like high school together.
In our veins, baby.
Yeah. So we're another thing too. The prep is called off, so we could be having an alcoholic beverage, but we're just going to have a nice coffee. It's going to accelerate the conversation a bit because caffeine gets you fired up.
It's going to be a 3-hour podcast in 1 hour. Baby.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about everything on this planet. So, bro, I'm super pumped to have you on, and like I said, it's been a long time coming. So much shit has happened since I even bought the mics.
Lot.
So we want to start you guys off from like the beginning of our friendship, like how we kind of met. Like sounds like we're dating, but like this is like how we met. Our girlfriends will argue that we are in a relationship just because like we're always hanging out together. He's a part of my business in the sense that he's my training partner, and taking care of my body and being in the best shape possible is always at the forefront of my mind. So he is always there helping me, keeping me in check. And now I am on the I was started on the Dark Horse podcast, and also tuning into some main event live streams, which is super lit. We will get to that later in the podcast. I want to start with the tweet. Tell everybody what happened in grade 9 when like we first started chatting.
So basically how we met, I was a skinny little kid and I wanted to work out and I needed a gym to go to and I didn't know, and I tweeted out something. I don't know what the exact tweet was, but it was something along the lines of like, oh, I need a gym to go to, whatever, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that you were like done playing hockey.
Yeah,
you're like, now that hockey's over.
Yeah, the off season kind of
what
thing.
Gym should I hit or something like that?
Along the lines of.
Yeah. And I replied, I was like, yo,
some kid I did not know at all.
No, literally though, it was one of those things where like, and if you're listening this and you're from Mississauga, if you're like part of our friend group or whatever it may be, you know that like you kind of just know each other through like multiple high schools, friends of friends, like the social circles and stuff like that. So I think like we followed each other on Insta and like Twitter or whatever, but like never like actually like
Twitter was the thing in grade 9. Twitter was
that was like when you were like tweeting about people's birthday. Like happy birthday, and then you post a picture with them. Like
Twitter was the thing
when it was popping. So I replied Air Mills Fitness, which is a gym that has like changed ownership like 18 times now, at least after like the years that it's been since we've been there. But I was working out there in grade 9, so we were 14 years old and currently 23 years old.
That's crazy, 14.
Yeah, it's been 9 years.
I was probably 13.
That's crazy. Yeah, because you're in December.
Realistically, yeah.
That's crazy, bro. If you ever think about it, it's almost 10 years.
Nuts. That is crazy.
So
yeah, that's wild.
Tell everybody what we worked and like what it was like.
Oh my god,
the first workout.
Oh my god, okay. So basically, I know we worked. I don't know if it was just shoulders, but I know we did mix shoulders basically. Yeah. Because the reason I know that is afterwards when we're showering, like it was like the individual showers and we're right next to each other. And I'm like, Jules, I literally can't pick up my hands to wash my hair. Guys, I swear to God, I had to pick up one of my hands to wash my hair because I literally couldn't lift my arms. That was the craziest. That was like the craziest feeling I've ever had in my life. The fact I was incapable of washing my own hair in the shower after a workout.
Yeah,
that was surreal. Yeah, it was a nuts workout, and
ever since then, it was kind of just clicked. And from my perspective, I was like super impressed that this guy was like down to crush. Like when I mean crush, guys, I mean like sets on sets on sets. Like I am gonna be like testing out due to him like working out live on YouTube on my personal account. So like once you guys see like not like an edit, like not a cut video of like my workouts and our workouts, like if you're there with me or whatever, it's like intensity is extremely high, rest times are low, weights are high, like we're pushing pace the whole time. And like to have somebody that was like down to be like almost like a gym partner, gym buddy at like that age, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like for my own personal experience, like all my friends were playing football. Mm-hmm. And you were like kind of done with hockey, so you were like really focusing on working out. And so when I went to go work out after school, or like when we were working out on weekends or whatever, and you were there, it was like, oh, like I had a buddy that like all he kind of cared about was like working out and like getting big for now. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and, like,
exactly. Yeah.
That was the motive in grade 9, bro. Like you're about to go into high school, you're trying to get massive, you're trying to get jacked, you're trying to get girls, you're trying to like like defend yourself when you're in grade 9 and stuff like that. So you're two young hungry kids that were like, let's fucking get huge. Let's get fucking huge, bro.
Pretty much, yeah.
And we were such gym bros at the time, like, pre-workout, whatever. Obviously
C4.
Now. Yeah, it didn't fucking matter. We even tried hyphy mud, which is a fucking funny story that I wanted to bring up.
Hyphy mud?
That's a Cali Muscles pre-workout.
Oh.
So you put instant coffee.
Oh my God.
You put instant coffee into Coca-Cola, and it's like the caffeine from the Coke and like the caffeine from the coffee and like the sugar from the Coke supposed to give you like a stupid pump. So we were so fucking dumb, bro.
Stupid.
Yeah,
that was gross,
that was
too, man.
up.
Oh my God, that was
what a time.
That was a time.
So anyway, that's kind of how we started like really bonding, and we both had the same inspirations, like to go and to get big and to work out and to challenge ourselves. And then it kind of got more serious when I switched to Gonzaga.
The big move.
Yeah, that was the
biggest trade.
That was probably but that was a big trade. This guy said the biggest.
That was the biggest free agent signing in Gonzaga's history right there, boys.
That's fucking yokes. Anyway, so I switched to Gonzaga, and basically like that like kind of amplified everything. Like instead of just like working out after school, like we were in classes together and then hanging out after school or going to work out on spares. I swear, like in grade 11 we had the same spare.
Yeah, we probably made our schedules.
Yeah, like exactly, like working out and doing kind of whatever the fuck we wanted, because this guy had like the coolest high school experience in grade 12. He was like a part-time student, still playing sports, still living the dream. And, we had the funny thing is, for those of you that don't know, I hold a record at Gonzaga for most gyms taken in 1 year. Ask anyone from the gym department, the phys ed department. But Michael was there with me 1 year or both years for 2 gyms. So like in grade 12 we had 2 gyms, and in grade 11 I took 3 gyms. Like it was ridiculous. and
Someone's got to
and
do it.
you were in 2 of them for both years.
Yep.
So we were like playing soccer together, like really enjoying high school, man. It was a fucking good time.
It was a lot of fun.
Right?
It
Like,
was a lot of fun.
You know, like just
Yeah.
schmangling people in sports and in gym and like just like cool, like whatever the hell it was, like field trips, whatever. Anyways, like shit that was going on in high school. That was really awesome. But yeah, I wanted to talk about how after that we also then went to Brock together. So
We did.
this is the big question.
Oh, no.
We were having fun in high school, whatever, and you know, you were like, Jules is my buddy, like this guy's fucking my good friend, whatever. And what about when you had to live with me? The question I have here on my phone is our journey to Brock. Describe to the audience what it was like living with me.
Oh, my God. Living with you? First of all, it was fun. It was a lot of fun because we never got into arguments or anything really for the most part because, you know, we both come from, you know, we both have European backgrounds. So we're basically used to having to do the dishes. And like, if we don't do the dishes, we have to look behind our shoulders because we might get smacked behind the ear or something.
Yeah,
but like, so for the most part, it was like that.
Yeah, we never had like actual like house issues at all.
No.
With anyone.
It was like dishes really. That was like the only thing. But like, it wasn't even us.
And chess.
Chess?
Yeah, remember trash can chess?
Oh yeah.
So it was like we would like pile up the garbage and then like when it got like overfilled, like you would have to place your garbage and if it didn't fall, then you didn't have to take it out. But like the person that like dropped the massive tower had to take out the garbage. So like
dude,
just like stupid
if our
shit
mother
like
saw
that.
the way we lived, we would catch such a beating. You have no idea. Shout out Helen Muto.
They would not be happy, but
yeah, that would not be good.
It was such a good
fun.
time. Like
It was fun.
we built a beer wall. Like we drank 510 beers.
Yeah.
That was the goal.
Yeah.
And we did it and put them all on our wall. And then the next day there was a what was it called? Inspection.
Oh yeah.
So we lived in Village at Brock, which was like a house. So like we didn't have meal plans. We were all like eating our own food and just like live. We were pretty much student living, but on campus. It was ridiculous. And you guys can only imagine the partying and all that stuff. But the beer wall was one of the craziest things we did in like the first like couple weeks. And the next day we had to tear it down. So it was like a Sunday night. People had like 8:30 a.m. like biology classes the next day. And on that Sunday night, like I think you drank like 12 to 15 beers.
Yeah,
and
you made me.
I drank like 16 to 20 beers.
Yeah, you incentivized me to drink because I wanted to play you in video games, and you're like, the only way I'm playing you in video games is if you have beers with me. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, yeah. And this guy's also like so good at video games, especially NHL, that it's like I only play him unless he's fucked up. So I'm like, if you
So it
drink
evens
10
it
beers,
out.
I'll play you.
Yeah,
and
so
then,
it evens out.
And then he actually drank like 12 beers. I was like super impressed.
Yeah,
I was like,
it was
yo.
funny.
So anyways, we put him up all on the wall. That was like a really cool story. I wanted to share that because
that was funny.
That was a really good time.
And then like the fire alarm went off or whatever, and we had to tear it all down.
Yeah.
We were having a heart attack because we thought we were gonna get like kicked out or like fined or some shit.
And we're also
and then
scared
nothing
of our
happened.
parents, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh
it's
my
just-
god. Yeah.
We were all
of
like,
course.
if anything happened, like that's the thing, guys. Obviously, we had our fun, but it was never like mischievous or like stupid. Like we're pretty stupid. Anyways, so then I wanted to talk about how at Brock we literally still continue to work out.
Yeah.
That's something that not everybody does during their first year, but like literally since the day that we started hanging out, we were working out in grade 9, 10, 11, 12. We went to Brock. We were literally working out 5 to 6 days a week, no matter
First
what.
year, we'd
while
just
partying,
walk over.
Literally while
walk
partying.
over to the gym.
Yeah, it was like stupid close to us.
Yeah.
Right.
We had no excuse not to go.
So we were like crushing weights, but then we like how much would like tell everybody like what you went. Like what you started, what you went to university weighing, and then like what you weighed at the end of first year.
I don't know how much I weighed exactly. It was probably around like 165, 70s, around there. But like at the end, I remember I was tipping 196. That was like the heaviest I got. It was 196 maybe.
So let's say you were like, so maybe 20 pounds, 25 pounds.
Yeah, I gained easily 20, 30 pounds, 100, like easily. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I was trying to bulk too. That was me trying to,
Yeah. We were really eating well, guys. Like lots of like pasta.
My Fitness
and, like,
Pal tracking the peanut butter I ate.
We were tracking our bulking.
Yeah.
Like we were trying to get huge, and like I remember like we're like pressing like 90
And then
pound
we had the
dumbbells.
money on our student cards when we discovered that. We're like, we can pay Like we were supposed to use it for laundry and we could use it for food. We're like, oh my god, dude, we just smashed arms.
Everybody started out with like $300 flat on their student card, and we only found that out like 2 months into school.
Yeah, that was the greatest.
And then we were like, what?
Then we would just smash like 2 burgers, fries,
chicken wraps, like fries all the time.
Everything.
Yeah. So anyways, so he gained 20 to 30. I gained probably 30. And I went, from like 185 to like almost 205.
The weight fluctuations were crazy.
It was crazy. So anyways, at the end of that, we started like wanting to cut. We were like, you know what? Like, it's getting like too much almost.
No. I was like, so insecure about my body.
We didn't feel healthy either. You know what I mean?
No.
After all the fried food from like campus and stuff.
I just remember being so insecure in my body. Like, I was the strongest I've ever been, but like I was not proud of who I was, like what I looked like. Mm-hmm. And I remember like going on vacation and then like not wanting any pictures to be posted of me when I was topless because I was so insecure. And I'm like, man, I do not like the way I look. And then, from that, it stemmed to like for me to want to lose all that weight. I'm like, this isn't good. I don't want to continue. And like, I remember the feeling of when we were playing hockey, we also played intramural hockey with the guys in our house. And like I remember the feeling of playing hockey and just feeling so heavy, like not being able to skate. And I was like, okay, I got to switch this up because it's not good. Did not feel good.
Yeah. So, and obviously like there's the mental aspect of it and the physical aspect of it, like not legitimately being healthy. Yep. Right. So we know that like we don't like we're extremists in the point that like when we do something we're gonna do it like
we are extremists. That's perfectly said,
right? Like and that can sometimes get you into trouble. So this is a really cool lesson right now that's going on the podcast is like balance and everything in moderation is like what we're chasing now. We're gonna talk about the present in a bit. I still have a bit more I want to cover. So the next thing, it's all like in a timeline, which is absolutely perfect. Like so now we're going into when I started competing. Okay. So that summer that we finished, we were all like really big. We all gained weight.
Big boys.
And we were all like, okay, time to whatever. So we did Christian Guzman's cut online in the spring for summer. And then later that year was when I competed for the first time. So I want to talk to you about how when I decided to go to that extreme, my question to you was, what was it like training with me for my competitions? And what did you learn from those like 2 experiences?
Just how hard of a worker you are. Like it was like emphasized.
Not about me, bro.
About you?
No.
Oh, about me, myself?
Yeah.
Like, what did I learn?
What did you learn? Yeah. Like what? Like, cause here's the thing, bro. We were working out to get big when we were young. Yeah. Then we were working out just like whatever to continue to get big or whatever, but it got to a point where we had now a specific goal. Okay. And the specific goal was to get like a 6-pack or to get dice. And I was like an extremist like we are. I was like, I'm going to do a competition. I'm not just going to cut for summer. Yeah, okay. I want to compete. Mm-hmm. So what made you be like, instead of just like me going to the gym on my own and training for just like
just to get
health and to get big and whatever, why were you like, I'm actually down to train with you and do the workouts that you're doing specifically? And then like what did you learn from like the 3-4 months that you were training with me both times?
I mean, like I just love pushing myself. Like I'm like obsessed with progress and like just like taking it to the extremes, like limits, just really pushing yourself. I'm really into that. And it just like I learned about hard work and that stems to like transition into like jujitsu and all that kind of stuff. It just like, and like the routine of it. Like I love the routine.
Yeah,
of,
you're very routine individual.
I need a good routine to be, to have like that structure in my life. I learned like the importance of that I'm implementing today. And it just you learn a lot about yourself through those hard workouts, because those workouts are not normal. Like 6 times 25 reps, that's not normal. Like that kind of stuff. Yeah, and I just and I just love like supporting you no matter what you do.
That's cool.
I'm willing to put myself through that pain with you to support you.
That's some deep shit.
No matter what.
Yeah, that's
at the end of the day. And to me, we're having fun at the end of the day. We're working out. Even though we're denting our bodies, like we're smiling, we're having a good time, we're feeling good. And like it's just like I learned how much I love hard work through those workouts. And like how much I'm like, okay, let's do it. Yeah. Let's get it.
Sometimes guys, like It gets to the point where like you don't see the end of the workout. Like
No,
that leg day that we just
it's always
did.
like, what's next?
Yeah, that leg day that we just did.
Yeah.
Tell the audience.
It was not fun. I still can't walk. Going up the stairs is like hell right now. It's not fun.
And here's the thing, guys. I wanna explain this concept before we move on to continue talking about like us and shit. Like the leg workout that I made specifically for this last little bit of the prep that fell through, which will be the next episode of the podcast. I wanted to also preview that as well. I'm going to be coming on with Rachel next, having her on again, and we're going to be talking about how hard this prep has been for 2021 with all the postponements. The show was postponed 3 times, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to have a conversation about how difficult it was to continue prepping for a show that you think is going to disappear on you every single time. So the last split that I made was I wanted to prove to everybody that I'm still a champ, you know, like I'm still the champ. I'm still the men's physique guy, and I was willing to do whatever it took. So when I was making this workout, because I was coaching myself, I was like, I'm going to pick all the shit that I hate. Everything that I fucking hate doing, like barbell glute bridges. Like, I fucking hate that, bro. But I was like, I put like a lot. Like 5, 6 sets, fucking 15 reps, like high, like things that will make other people throw up.
Yeah.
You know? Like, and going through that and like the split squats, elevated single leg split squats with like holding a heavy fucking weight on your front leg, like, and just like doing shit that you don't like and do it like you love it. That's a Mike Tyson quote.
I like that.
Right?
I like that.
Doing
that's
shit
nice.
that's the definition of discipline. Is doing something that you hate but doing it like you love it.
I like that.
Right?
That's deep.
And I was like, you know what, bro? Like, I'm willing to do whatever the fuck it takes. So then this guy comes in and he's like, I'll fucking do that workout. And I'm like, bro,
sign me up.
yeah, and I'm like,
sign me up.
Yeah, who else is like, you know, trying to do that? So the respect I have for you, bro, to come in there and like when we're like done our 4th superset, to be like, is there anything else? And I'm like, yeah, there's something else. And you're like,
It's always something else.
You just fucking sigh and you're like, fuck it, I don't give a fuck.
Whatever.
Who cares?
Let's do it. Let's get it over with.
Yeah, let's get it over with.
I don't even think. Just go. Let's go. Let's get it.
And you're right, bro. Like all those lessons that you've learned, obviously I've learned as well in this time, and it's just super cool to have that connection with someone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
of course.
that's why when in bodybuilding shows backstage, everybody like is all buddy and chats, is because like you've all gone through the same shit.
Yeah.
Right. But for me, it's like to have a fucking friend that's willing to do that, like, blows my mind. You know what I mean? So you're definitely a specimen, bro, for wanting to like hop in on those and to come through that whole competition part of my life. Still to this day, bro. I'm not gonna stop competing. I'll say it right now on the podcast. Like, I'll be doing this till I'm like 28, 30 years old. I want to really take advantage of my physique and my genetics and get this done. And I wouldn't have made the progress that I've made without this guy, because even after Brock, even whatever, like, we've been going to World Gym Mississauga together. We've been training in like a $10 a month like steel plate weight gym, gritty, like, and we show up there like 6 days a week, like, to put in the work. And you know, that's something that no one can ever take away from us, bro. Like,
yeah, it is pretty crazy.
We are workhorses. It's stupid. So 9 years I've been working out and you've been working out.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's crazy.
And we still aren't satisfied. We're still trying to chase what we want. Well, we're not willing. Like, it's like a rabid dog. Like, you can kick it 1,000,000 times, it's still gonna keep going after the same thing, bro.
Pretty much.
And that's the cool thing, is that also stems into jiu-jitsu, which we're gonna talk about in a bit. But same thing with BJJ. It's a journey that you know is never gonna end, right? Who the fuck signs up for that?
You always want to get better.
Who signs up for that? Who signs up for something that you'll never be perfect at?
Who knows? I don't know. I couldn't even answer that.
Bodybuilding and BJJ,
Yeah,
right? It's very
know.
similar in concept. So that's, bro, that's awesome. And now we're gonna go into MMA.
Okay, I'm listening.
Now we're gonna be talking about Michael's passion and what he's super interested in. Then you got into MMA. Tell me how that all started for you. And then I'll bridge on from another question. Like, what made you an MMA fan before you started doing anything physically yourself?
I mean, like the first thing that comes to mind is like when it comes to hockey, I loved like hitting people, body checking, the physical contact and stuff like that.
Contact sport.
I love that. I love contact sports. Like basketball, I can't watch. I'll fall asleep any day. Raptors in the finals, I don't care. I'm sorry, I'll fall asleep. I almost fell asleep in the finals. But anyways, like it just, I don't know what it is, but like something about like just like it sounds kind of messed up, but like the violence of it and like just like the chaos behind it and everything like that. But like the respect they have like in the fighters and who they are as people. It's so, I was like fascinated by and like how they're so polite. Like GSP, like a perfect role model. This guy's a killer, but he's like so charitable. He's such an amazing person and role model, a great human being.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing. How I got into it, it was just I don't know. It probably just came from.
What'd you see? Like, what sparked it? Like, what were you like? You saw this and you're like,
you know what? Like the first thing that comes to mind for me to like get into it, I remember it was Conor McGregor's Go Big press conference, and I remember I was on World Star Hip Hop, and it was like Irish guy Conor McGregor, like, and he like just ripping everyone apart. And I'm like, I watched it. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Ironically, I was like, who is this guy talking all this shit? I'm like, man, I want to see this guy get knocked out. And then I like wanted to see the results of his fight.
Yeah.
13-second KO, Jose Aldo. Yeah, GG.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, this guy's crazy. And then I was like, okay, you know what? Like, I've always been into it. You know, I remember as a kid in elementary school, I would love watching Anderson Silva's highlights on YouTube. I had like the old UFC video game on PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
So like stuff like that. I remember like I was just so into it. I love hitting the heavy bag at my house when I was young. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I was like, you know what? Let me like I remember following the UFC on Instagram. That was like the big step. And then I just kept after that, it's just been a snowball effect. Like it just more and more and more addicted. And then it got into me like actually pursuing it myself and like. Yeah, it was just like probably the first thing that comes to mind is like the Conor McGregor thing, and then after that stemmed me following Instagram and just following the events and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it to continue that thought, like I'm now the same way.
Yeah, it's addicting,
bro. Ever since I started like watching the UFC, I'm now like, like this guy knows I'm a crack addict for this stuff. Bro. Yeah, I'm watching the press conferences. I'm watching
more than me.
Yeah,
more than me.
Yeah,
you
guys,
consume more content than me, which is crazy.
Yeah, guys, I'm watching like jiu-jitsu competitions, like grappling matches. Like
you fall asleep to jiu-jitsu matches.
I fall asleep to jiu-jitsu matches pretty much, and constant. I'm just obsessed with the fighters, man. Like
that's what I mean. Personalities and stuff like that.
And their mindset.
That's the thing. The mindset
really intrigues
me. It really
it
probably comes. It's related to the mindset. Yeah, to be honest,
they're just such different human beings, and it's like obviously like for example like Ronaldo. Like everybody respects Ronaldo for the fact that like he trains like a savage. He's in the gym and he works hard. That's why he's good. You know what I mean? It's not like God-given. He doesn't do anything. He drinks beer and eats pizza. Yeah. He's got like a diet year-round. He's diced. He's photo shoot ready all the time, and he trains like a savage. So it's like it makes sense, right? So people are drawn to that. People are drawn to the inspiration of like this guy works so hard or whatever. And for the fighters, they sacrifice their life, man. Like
it's a crazy sport.
They really sacrifice their life, and they do it for almost like peanuts at the beginning. And like, so by the time they get to the top, their stories are just amazing. Yeah, and I'm like, whoa, like, dude, this guy came from this to this, and now he's like a UFC champ or whatever it may be. And it just like, it blows my mind, man. Yeah, I'm mesmerized.
The stories of the fighters are honestly like really beautiful. It's like crazy. Hearing where they come from to where they are today.
Yeah. And then it shows like when they do. That's why I love the press conferences and stuff, because like some person that like came from nothing, whatever, they win a fight, and then after the fight they're just so thankful. They're just so like, it's so pure. It's not like I get paid $80 million a year to like play tennis or soccer or any of this stuff. Like they're just different athletes.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's pure.
It's insane. And to anyone that does not watch mixed martial arts, I would highly recommend like checking it out, watching like mixed martial arts in general, like jiu-jitsu, judo, anything, forms, karate, anything, taekwondo. It's so cool how they blend everything.
Yeah, you just got to be okay with seeing people get like put unconscious.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, man. Even in taekwondo, like there's like highlights of like people getting head kicked in taekwondo. They're just wearing headgear or whatever. Obviously, you have to be come accustomed to watching that. It's not like you said, basketball or soccer or, football and hockey are a bit different. But it definitely is an acquired taste for sure. But the next question I want to lead into from your MMA passion is BJJ.
BJJ, baby.
Yeah, of course. So this is the big topic, your jiu-jitsu, and how you got into BJJ.
I mean, I remember I got the first taste of jiu-jitsu after first year, the summer. I remember I did like a few classes at the UFC gym. I worked out at the UFC gym there for a summer, whatever, went back to Brock. And then I always said to myself, I'm like, you know what, when I graduate, I'm going into this. I'm diving into this. Because obviously with Brock, we didn't have jobs. We saved our money. And it was expensive. So it was like,
yeah, exactly.
Martial art gyms are expensive. So it was harder to afford. While I was a student, if I could, I would 100% have done it. But yeah, so like when I graduated, I just dove right in. I'm like, okay, let's get it. I was like, it was funny. I used the gi when I was almost 200 pounds from the UFC gym. I wore it at Combat Arts where I train now. And it was just so big on me. And I remember like the belt was like way too long. It was so funny. I remember a bunch of
you gave me your belt.
Yeah, a bunch of my teammates were like, dude, your belt is way too big for you. It was like I was gonna like trip on it. But yeah, but like the reason I actually like really pursued it, first of all, I was obviously a fan of, just the sports and like MMA, and I'm like, I really want to try this. Like Joe Rogan always talking about jiu-jitsu. I'm like, I need to try this. But like the biggest thing was I had a really big self-confidence issue. I've always had a self-confidence issue. Very insecure about myself. Like that's why I quit hockey, because I was very insecure. And I'm like, I would hate when I had a hockey game that day. I remember going to lunch with Michael Carusi, and I'm like, oh my God, I have a hockey game today. Shit, man. Because I was just so scared of like getting hit and getting like embarrassed in front of everyone, and like, all the expectations and stuff like that. I'm like, oh my God. And then I was like, okay, I got to do something to solve this self-confidence issue. And also, just self-defense, obviously, because, we've, being at a bar, I've almost gone to like these fights, trying to defend my sisters and stuff like that. Cause I'm
drunk, stupid people.
Yeah. Just like bars. Drunk, stupid people. And I'm like, fuck, man. Like, and then I remember, just like a quick, this story, obviously, like a guy, yelling at my sister, and I like obviously stepped in. And then I remember the guy going to approach me, and I remember the feeling of it, not knowing what to do. And like, this is a situation where I'm defending my family. So I'm like, and then I remember being sick to my stomach. Thank God nothing happened with that situation. I'll be like, man, I gotta learn how to defend myself. Like, this isn't cool. That's not a good feeling. And I got to do something, because if it ever came down to defending my family or like my brother, like anyone, I gotta learn how to defend myself. And
you want to like feel like confidence.
I gotta feel like if something happens, I need to know how to defend myself and protect my loved ones, because family is everything to me. And if something happened and I wasn't able to defend my family, like that would break my heart truly. So that was probably the biggest thing. And then obviously like the self-confidence issue, I didn't realize how much that would affect that area of my life. And it did. And yeah, so then I basically, got into it and been addicted. It's
ever since.
Crazy addiction, but it's like the life lessons I've learned from jiu-jitsu and how I've grown as a human being from it is like, honestly, like I'm so grateful for, all the coaches, the teammates, everyone that's like been along that martial art journey for me. It's, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's surreal.
What
a crazy journey it's been, bro.
Yeah, man.
And that's so pure, man. Like the fact that it comes from like that, like you wanting to defend your family, and that's so cool. And I know that your tattoo has so much meaning behind it, that like obviously if you guys are listening on a listening platform, you can't see Michael's tattoos. If you check out my Instagram, Jules Melly with a G, you'll see I posted pictures and a bunch of stuff for this guy's nasty sleeve. But he has a samurai, because it symbolizes. Tell them what the samurai. I think that's one of the coolest ones.
That's my favorite looking one for sure.
Yeah,
no, it's just the samurai, just like how like samurais are, and just
peaceful
being that
rice warriors.
Rice
farmers.
Yeah, it's like that Bruce Lee quote. It's like, I'd rather be a a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And I love that quote. That quote, like,
That's
hits
sick.
me so. I got goosebumps saying it.
Yeah.
That quote hits me so hard in the feels because I'm like, man, I need to be a warrior in the garden, like whatever that case is. Like I gotta. And every time I see this, it reminds me of it. I'm like, okay, man. Like it's
Warrior mindset, man.
yeah, the warrior mindset that comes from like the working out on prep with you.
Yeah.
Going through all that. It's not just jujitsu and stuff like that, but it's like just in general with life.
I feel like we really enjoy that because like a warrior is always striving to be better.
Yeah.
And that's always kind of what meshes us together. Is no matter what it is, it's like I want you to be better, you want me to be better. We push each other to become better, and like legitimately, like my brand wouldn't be what it is today without you. Like you doing those cuts, like if anyone's ever seen them on my Instagram, on the Team Bionic Instagram, like you've proven to yourself first, because that's what the most important thing is, that you can get shredded, that you can look however you want. If you want to be 180 with like a bit of fluff and jacked, you can do that. If you want to be 165 shredded to the bone, you can do that. If you want to bulk to 195, you can do that too. But it's like the fact that we're in control. And then when we lose control, it's like a light switch. It's like, oh, now we're going to go back into this, or we're going to do that. And not to say that we're roller coastering, but we kind of are. You know, that's kind of what I wanted to stem into now, is like my experience with BJJ and like the lifestyle part of it. You know what I mean? Like it just needs to become a part of your life. And I think our coach Amir taught us a lot about that, where, you know, like staying in shape, being in good health, practicing self-defense jiu-jitsu and training. Like he's really into working out, which is really cool that our coach is into like weight training like that. Yeah, he's jacked. Absolutely jacked. Very jacked. But you know, all that stuff has made me a better person as well. And after, you know, like just to put it into perspective for you guys, I want to chat about my BJJ because I was there for 5 or 6 months and you were there for a year. Yeah, you were like, I think like 8 months ahead of me or something like that. Like, and it's noticeable, guys, when you're a white belt that's been there for a month versus a white belt that's been there for 4 months. Let's say, like the fucking difference is insane.
There's a huge misconception when it comes to white belts.
Yeah,
like I'm not just saying that because I'm a white belt.
They're on different levels, bro.
I've lived it.
Yeah,
there's 4-star white belts that fucking kick my ass. Every day.
Yeah, and you're
there's a guy who's it's like his 4th class and like he's a baby in my arms. Yeah, but like that's just the thing. That's just the way it is.
Because like jiu-jitsu guys, it's like you get a gem every class. Every class you get taught a technique. You take the gem and then you're like, okay, put it in your pocket.
And then you hit that technique in a roll.
Then it's in the arsenal.
Yeah.
Right? So then obviously like the more time that passes, whatever. I was there for 5 months. He was going to compete in a jiu-jitsu competition and I was like, I want to sponsor you. I want you to be like a Team Bionic BJJ athlete. And I thought that was like the fucking coolest thing ever, because I'm like, I've only had bodybuilding athletes. I've trained soccer players, hockey players, cricket players, baseball players, like literally
everything,
all kinds. But I've never had like a fighter. And I was like, man, like this guy rolls. This guy's legit. He wants to compete. And then I remember a purple belt told me, because he couldn't tap me in a 7-minute roll, and he was all frustrated, and he's like, dude, why aren't you doing the competition with your buddy? Like, you would do well. And I was like, oh, no. Like, so then my confidence in BJJ wasn't that high. I was like, no. I want to be there for a year before.
I remember us having that conversation too.
I was like, oh, no, I want to wait until a year and then compete, because like then I'll be better or whatever. And Michael was just like, nah, bro, like just fucking do it. Who cares? He's like, you can fucking defend yourself. And I was like, you know what, bro, I can. And I was thinking to myself, like, I didn't have the confidence when the idea was in the air. I was like, no, I'm not competing. Like, I'm not gonna do that because I'm not ready. And then you were like, bro, like, it doesn't fucking matter.
You just think you're not ready.
Exactly.
You're physically ready.
Yeah. So even myself, like, I try and be like mentally strong and confident and all these different things, but it's like, even with me, like, to have someone there to like lift you up and to be like, yo, go chase it, bro. Even if you fucking lose, who cares? You tried. And I'm like, you know what, bro? Who cares if, like, guys, jiu-jitsu is like an ego thing. If you have a massive ego and you don't want to like admit that you lost, you'll get choked out cold, you'll lose an elbow.
You won't make it You won't make it to 2 classes if you have a huge ego in jiu-jitsu.
So that's what I mean. Like, I'm like, worst case scenario, someone gets me in something and I tap and it's quick and the match is over and whatever. I'm like, literally, that's the worst case scenario. And like, but if it wasn't for Michael, like, I wouldn't have just listened to the purple belt. I was like still doubting myself and shit like that. And then you were like when I talked to you about it, you were like, nah, fuck that. You're going to start coming to night classes. So I was getting my ass kicked at night class. And then I ended up losing twice, but I didn't get submitted.
Nope.
So the worst case scenario didn't even happen.
How crazy is that?
I was like, bro, like if I didn't have a good friend like that by my side, like my eyes would have never been open to that. I would have, it would have been like a dark cloud, like where it's like, don't do this, like you're not ready, right? And that just goes to show you how like powerful it is to have people around you that push you. You know, and absolutely. Like in general, like just having a friend like you that's like super motivated to do well and to improve and whatever. Like I said, like since that day in grade 9, like it's kind of just clicked because we both have that in us. And when it's not in you, it's in me. And when it's not in me, it's in you.
Yeah, vice versa. All day, baby.
That's a fucking
That's
key,
what it
right?
is.
So yeah, bro. Now that we talked about BJJ, the next big thing that happened was Dark Horse MMA.
Horse MMA.
The big news, not obviously now, but, you know, at the time, after we competed, March 7th, we were sweating all over other people while COVID was a legitimate thing in March of 2020. It was like the funniest shit ever because it's like 6 days after our BJJ comp where like our families are all in like a sweaty gym with like fucking 100 people. They're like, oh, yeah, you can't see or touch anyone.
And we're like, okay.
So anyway, so we're like, all right. So we got into a lockdown March 17, 2020. Everything changed in Ontario and in Canada. And we both didn't have something that we have right now. For me, it's number 1, this podcast. Number 2, my gym. And for you, you never had a brand. You were tell them like what you were doing and then how that kind of came about.
So like what I was doing for work or what were we saying? Yeah,
like tell them what you were doing for work, what ended up happening and whatever. And then like why you started Dark Horse MMA.
Yeah, so basically I remember like I got hired right out of school to work for a data management company. Never been more unqualified for a job ever before in my life than when I worked for them. So I was working at a data management company, data processor. What a dream that was to live.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. And I was, doing BJJ at night. I was competing in BJJ and I was, just always obsessed with the UFC, just getting more obsessed every single day. And then I had that idea of like, should I start like an Instagram page for like UFC? I'm like, nah, like no.
When you have a marketing background from school, right? Like that's something that like you're kind of passionate about before everything.
Yeah,
happened,
exactly.
Right?
Social media marketing is something I've always been passionate about. Shout out Gary V.
Content.
But yeah, man. I remember like I was like, okay, I heard the term Dark Horse being thrown around like the world of MMA a lot. I'm like, okay. I'm like, what does that even mean? And then I Googled it and I got goosebumps. I'm like, oh man, that's such a cool meaning. That's such a cool meaning. And I'm like, okay, like just in case if I want to do it in the future, let me just like have the page so I have the name Dark Horse. And then so I literally had like technically a Instagram page Dark Horse for months, several months, and never did anything with it. And then once like lockdown, COVID happened, stay at home protocol kind of stuff happened, I'm like, okay, you know what? Like I'm at home, I can't train, I can't do anything. Like I need to do something. So I'm like, why not? I'm like, okay, let me start posting some UFC content and like see what goes from there. And then I just kept doing that and fell in love with it. And just one thing led to another.
Logo.
I started a YouTube channel, paid someone for a logo, a bunch of stuff. Just like building a brand. Like I was like pursuing like the social media content side of the thing and tied it in with my passion of martial arts. So I was like, oh my God, this is crazy.
Passion related work.
Yeah, I'm like, This is wild, man.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did that, and then I eventually actually got laid off from the Springboard job because of COVID. And turns out that was like a blessing in disguise. And just this quote from Conor McGregor. He was like, look at it as an opportunistic year. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe it is. I remember Jules and I bonded, right when you quit your job, and then I got laid off. Crazy how that happened. And then we had this experience together. We're like, you know what? Like, let's go for it. Like, let's chase our dreams.
Yeah,
We're 22, 21 years old at the time, and or whatever. And let's go for it. We put ourselves in this situation. We saved our money. We invested our money. And I remember you asked me, can you pay for rent? I'm like, I can pay for rent for the rest of my life, apparently. With my situation right now. Bro. Thank God, because I know how hard.
You're a very hard worker.
I know how hard I worked for the money, and I hate spending money. I'm a pretty cheap person at heart when it comes to spending money. I don't, because I'm like, okay, I want to buy let's say a pair of shoes. I'm like, okay, I got to work this many hours to afford it. I'm like, is it worth it? That kind of stuff. I have that thought process. Then after that, I was I got laid off. So, and then we both started pursuing, our building our own brands.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think we were 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah. We were one. Yeah. That was fully jumping.
Yeah.
We jumped
for sure. Cause you were working your job, and then we were doing podcasts on the side with Dark Horse. And then I was coaching people online, but then I was also working a 9 to 5. So I couldn't be available to my clients all the time. And so everything kind of just started to make sense when we both didn't have jobs.
Yeah.
Guys, I quit my job watching a UFC event at Michael's house in front of the TV.
Yeah, you did.
I sent in my resignation letter, and I was like, I'm so done. I don't want to work retail anymore. I want to just chase my dream. I want to be the best coach in Ontario and in Canada. I want to represent the GTA in the fitness community. That was kind of my main goal, and his main goal was to start a YouTube channel, start interacting with the MMA community, because it's so cool, guys. MMA Twitter
they're
and
awesome.
stuff.
Shout out MMA Twitter.
Yeah, they're awesome, and I've received a stupid amount of support, because the first Dark Horse YouTube videos were I was in them, and so people were relating me to the brand and the support, and just people in general that have watched our stuff, and even whatever, the Bionic audience, the Dark Horse MMA audience, they're close to us,
Yeah.
But it's something that I feel we could only really create after we quit our jobs.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to
balance everything.
Do 60% of the day is your
job,
and then
plus
10-15%.
Too,
yeah, workout.
Jiu-jitsu,
yeah,
dude,
drive to the gym.
It's almost impossible unless you want to not sleep.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Going back to Gary Vee, I think we really resonate with him, because he's always talking about how you can really achieve anything if you want, if you're willing to kind of take those risks.
Sacrifice.
Yeah, sacrificing. Okay, right now, am I gonna make as much as I would if I got a salary from a company paying me? No, not right
chance.
now.
Not in the beginning.
Not right now.
Nope.
So and this is the time of business where most people are not willing to kind of go through the hard shit, and that's just a business thing. I didn't want this to be a fucking business entrepreneur podcast, but at the same time, man, to have the confidence, it does go back to confidence to kind of, guys, in this society right now, going to university, getting a degree, and then going to get a job in your field, and XYZ, do this, that, and whatever, is there's so much pressure in our world right now. So when he was talking about how it all kind of happened at the same time, instead of one of us going through it and being yo, that's kind of hard, man, to not get a paycheck every 2 weeks.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, if we were sitting in bed at night thinking about that by ourselves, it's one thing, but when we just were talking about it, and we were yo, let's just go for it, why not, even if we start working jobs 3 years from now, we can still have a life, or what we've just been able to pull ourselves from the situation, which a lot of people can't do, bro.
Yeah, a perfect example of that is I remember the Gonzaga high school hockey team, and I remember I didn't want to try out because I had that, the self-confidence thing, and I was man, I don't want to do it. I'm too scared, whatever. And it kind of, and that was a big regret of mine, not trying. Like, what's the worst gonna happen? I was so scared of failing, I didn't even try, and that's one of the biggest regrets in life lessons that I learned in that moment.
Same thing with me in the comp.
Yeah, I know. And then I was like, you know what? Like, I'm constantly reminded of that choice, that mental, position I was in at the time, and I'm like, man, that led me to so much regret, and regret is like literally the worst feeling in the entire world to me.
It is.
Quitting hockey and not even trying out for the high school team, and I was pretty much like guaranteed a spot in like grade 11. Like the coaches were like, yo, Muto, you should try out, and I still didn't try out because I was so scared. One of the biggest regrets of my life, but it was also, instead of a regret, I'm like, okay, that's a lesson learned the hard way. I'm like, I'm not learning any more lessons like that. Like I'm learning from that. And when at the time I'm like, okay, I remember my girlfriend Selena, her mom was like, hey, I can get you a job at a bank. I'm like, bank? I failed grade 10 math. What the fuck am I going to do at a bank? I'm not going to do shit at a bank. I'm like, are you crazy? A bank? I'm like, you're nuts. But like, I was obviously so grateful for it that I'm like, you know what, Bonnie, like, I can't do that. That's not for me. And then, we had that talk. I'm like, I'm going to go for it. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
I saved all my money. I can afford food for myself. I can pay rent. I can pay for my car insurance. I can pay all the bills I need. I'm going for it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going against everything I should be doing compared to society. Society says, get a job. What are you doing? You bum. And I'm like, fuck you. I'm going to do what I want. And I'm going to go for it. I'm going to bust my ass. And what's the worst can happen? I tried.
Yeah.
And
that's something that's been a trend on the Bionic podcast. Like talking to everybody that I had in the Meet Team Bionic series was always about passion-driven lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
Like live a passion-driven lifestyle where like if you want to do something, you do it because you want to. It's enjoyable. It's fun. Something that's on my YouTube channel, on his YouTube channel, are the Dark Horse MMA live streams. Michael was making YouTube content and having a good time with it, and kind of realized that it's a lot of work, and anybody that's trying to do YouTube or whatever, it takes a long time. It takes a lot of work. This guy is a workhorse, and a dark horse, and all kinds of horses. And this guy, so this guy. But what I'm trying to say is, this live streams are fun. Like the live stream is minimal work,
so much fun,
lots of fun.
Yeah.
Because what we do, for those of you that are like, oh, what's the live stream? What is that? It's like the camera is facing us, or sometimes just Michael, and he's watching the fights. And he's interacting with his community in the live chat. People are like typing, having a conversation with Michael, asking him what he thinks about the fight that's going on right now. So people are watching it on their TV, and then on the side, they're kind of chatting it up with Michael. They're, and it's so cool, man. Like,
very cool.
Like, oh, what did we hit on the Francis card? Like 25, 27 people in the chat at one time.
Yeah.
Like that was nuts. Like there's 30 people watching us watch the fights, and people are
crazy,
like,
crazy thing to think
people like,
of.
what do you guys think going into round 2? And then we're like, oh, we think this is gonna happen. Like, yo, I hope this happens. Like, having a good time like that. And here's the thing, guys. Like, if Michael gets enough views, if he gets enough subscribers, go subscribe to Dark Horse MMA right now. I don't care what platform you're on. Do it right now. Pause the podcast and go do that. He's gonna start making money. If a live stream gets like 300,000 views whenever the time comes, like this guy will make $1 off that. This not $1, but he'll make money off of this. Like, people understand that, like, if you're consistent and passionate about YouTube, like, it is a career option. Like, children are growing up nowadays, like when they're in school, like, what do you want to be? And like a kid's like, oh, I want to be a astronaut. I want to be a YouTuber.
A YouTuber's a
big thing now, bro. Like, it's
thing.
like, I want to do that. I want to create content. I want to film. I want to like talk about MMA. I want to talk about fitness. I want like whatever it is.
You can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever you want. And what a sick platform to do it. And Michael has had exponential growth on this platform through everything. His TikTok leaks into YouTube and Instagram. His Instagram brings people to his YouTube, and he knows what's going on. Like, the social media knowledge and understanding that the guy has is crazy. Like, no, you can't work at a bank, but not everybody could get a page to like almost 4,000 followers or get 1,000 subs on YouTube and stuff like that. Like, like, to me, that blows my fucking mind. Like, I'm at 150 subscribers. This guy's at 700. Like, for me to get to 700, like I see it, but like fuck man, that's far, you know, like holy shit. So it's like I'm trying to get to 200, this guy's trying to get to 1,000. He gets it, you know. And same thing with me, like I went to school for fitness, so when I need business advice and when I need to understand business, I go and I read and I learn. This guy, his thing is social media, you know what I mean, and his passion is MMA. You combine the two and obviously it's gonna grow. If you do something that you don't give a shit about, it's not gonna grow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like a perfect example of that was when I first started the Springboard job. I was only money driven. I read this book called The Answer, and it was talking about the subconscious mind, manifestation and all this stuff. And I was only driven by like money. My vision board is hilarious. It's like 19 Ferraris.
Yeah,
and
but
stuff
this
like
was
that.
from like 2018.
Yeah. This is when I first started the job, and I'm like, okay. And I remember there was like the big drop shipping stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start a drop shipping store. I bought a course for like $50, and then I would wake up in the morning. I would do my research and stuff like that before work. I never actually jumped and pursued it and opened a store and whatnot. But then everything happened. And then eventually I made Dark Horse. And I realized how easy it was to put in like 12 hours a day, 13 hours a day doing something I love, because it didn't feel like work. Like I remember the Sunday after a live stream, there was like the so many knockouts, and I wanted to post like a bunch of like little clips on YouTube about, from those knockouts. And I remember my girlfriend Selena was like, "Oh, okay, like just don't overwork yourself and get burnt out." I'm like, thing is, like it'd be really hard for me to get burnt out because I'm posting videos of myself reacting crazy to people getting knocked out. Like it's like I'm not gonna get bored of that. Like this is like, it's fun to me. Like I can do all that stuff all day, and I won't think twice about it. Like, but when it came to like the drop shipping stuff, I was gonna sell like
pencil
cases, bullshit.
And you don't give a shit.
Yeah, I'm like, how am I gonna write a product description for a fucking pencil case and try to sell people on that? I'm like, I don't know, like, no, how, like, that's not what I'm interested in. And then I really learned that life lesson when I, started doing, the Dark Horse stuff, the website and all that kind of stuff that I actually eventually got into. And that's something I really like is a ultimate goal of mine, is that I will accomplish one day, is making like the full-time living from just Dark Horse.
That's it.
What I do, something I'm passionate about.
That's ultimately
Won't
what
think
we're,
twice about
what we're
doing.
chasing.
Exactly.
Is we want our brands to be our life.
Absolutely.
And
yeah,
it's as simple as that. It's like, if you really want something, you'll find a way. I mean, it sounds super cliche and whatever, but these types of motivational quotes and a vision board, like that's where I got it from. Like this guy, his was pictures. He's like, when we're hanging out, like I'll rip like a fucking quote, and this guy will be like, yeah, I read this in a book, and like he'll tell me the quote and whatever. So it's like, when we hear these quotes, like one of my favorite ones is like, if you fail to prepare, you should be prepared to fail.
Yeah, baby.
So with dieting, when this guy was getting into dieting and all this stuff and coming over to my house and whatever, I was always telling him like, yo, like we got meals, whatever, I'm coming. Like when I came over during prep for the UFC fights,
fridge.
I brought my whole fridge. I had to eat like 3 meals at his house and whatever. But if I didn't go to his house prepared with my meals, then I would have not been successful in bodybuilding. Yep. So, we're willing to do whatever it takes to grow these brands and these businesses, and we're super passionate about it. We both have super cool logos.
Hell yeah.
Like, come on. Like, they're sick. And
Look at that. That's pretty sick.
Not a big deal. And what I wanted to say is plug your website so anyone can check out like your merch and everything.
Website, darkhorsemmA.ca. Got a bunch of, jiu-jitsu shirts. If you're an MMA fan, you will like that stuff that's on it. And the hoodie, stuff like that.
And it explains the brand.
Explains the brand. It's not just for competitors. You help me out with that.
Yeah.
The whole hoodie, literally Jules designed the hoodie. He gave me the vision for the hoodie. I'm like, okay, sick. And then I put it in a computer.
That's awesome.
This guy told me his idea, and I loved it. And then I went through with it, and it can relate to boys, girls. It doesn't matter.
I appreciate the shout out, bro. Because
dude, every time I look at the hoodie, I'm like, I didn't do this. This is Jules. This isn't me. You should be getting at least 15% commission on every sale.
That's huge, bro. Yeah, honestly, I just thought because I really resonated when he said like he Googled the definition.
You also
of
have
Dark Horse.
You also have a great taste in fashion, I have to say.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Got you.
Yeah, you too. Both very well dressed man over here. So, yeah, no, I really got inspired by the fact that it was the definition, because I started Bionic because of the definition of Bionic, and it was like having unordinary human powers with the aid of bionic devices. So the devices were my workout plans and my diet plans.
Yeah.
So with those two aids in your human abilities, like you can become bionic.
Yeah.
So be bionic was the thing, like becoming bionic, and whatever. So I was like, that's sick. And then if you look at the hoodie on the website, and we've rocked it in the live streams and it's all over the place. It has the definition of dark horse, which is an individual who
little is known about but unexpectedly wins or succeeds.
There you go.
Bingo,
and
bango.
I thought, you know, what better way to kickstart your merch than to like just tell people what the brand is about.
Yeah.
And everybody can be a dark horse. Like,
yeah. Everyone's a dark horse in their own way.
Yeah. I love that. That's so fucking cool.
That's
yeah.
Woo!
That fires me up. All right, bro. So now that we've gone over everything, the last question that everybody gets on the podcast, what is your favorite part about Team Bionic, my guy?
Team Bionic. You know, it's... The coach is pretty good. He's a half decent guy.
Head coach.
No, just like, you know, the Team Bionic, the brand.
Yeah.
Just, you know, it's like a little family basically. You know, everyone has everyone has goals. Everyone supports each other. You know, and it's like something you're very passionate about, and I love seeing you succeed every day with it. You know, this is a pretty cool moment that we're gonna look back on one day, like with this podcast. You know, you being literally the most generous human being I've ever been like in contact with is pretty surreal. Like this guy gave me a barbell and 35-pound weights to work out with during COVID. And if it was for that, you know, and I wouldn't be in the shape and I am now. Also with your expertise in the, you know, lifting weights and what carbs to eat and stuff like that. You know, just it's a beautiful brand, and it's really supportive, and you really care about your clients. Like you're not like, the thing is like you're not like focused on money. You're focused on helping people, and money comes from that. So that's what's pretty cool about it, is like you really truly care about your clients, and you want them to succeed. You want them to live healthy lives. You want them to be happy. You want them to be confident in themselves. And it's pretty cool. And then like, honestly, like, it's like, that's why I love you so much. Cause like, you just want to help people.
That's fucking
You're a people person.
Love you too, buddy.
And dude, it's just like, you're literally like, you're the most generous human being I've ever come in contact with. And I'm so grateful to be your friend and
Thanks,
to
bro.
be, you know, on this journey with you. It's pretty fucking surreal. It's pretty cool.
It's been crazy, bro.
And it's going to be crazy to look back at this freaking podcast one day.
Yeah, I know. And that's the cool thing, man. Like, number one, thank you. Appreciate that, bro.
Got
like,
you, buddy.
You're also a very generous human being as well. Like and that's the cool part about us, is like, you know, always giving. It's nothing is ever expected. No. And that's like the cool thing, is that like, you guys, if you're looking for a friend in this life, look for a friend that, you know, no matter like what you do for them or whatever, like they want to give to you and they don't expect anything in return. Like, you know, I would continue to give you everything in the world if you never gave me anything ever. Like that's just kind of the way we are with each other both. So obviously, you know, I benefit from the things you give me, you benefit from the things I give you, and that's like anything in life, man. If you're not gonna you know, benefit from it and grow and like help others, I think one of the main reasons why we were put on this earth is to like lift others up, to help people and stuff like that. And like that to me means everything, bro. I would never be confident in defending myself if it wasn't for you. I wouldn't be, you know, confident enough like on stage and stuff like that, like to go into the depths of that. Like when you push me and, you know, you're like, yo, you look fucking crazy, bro. Like when you tell me I look crazy, I'm like, holy fuck, man, I must look fucking crazy. Like, you know, like this guy's telling me like, bro, like you killed your old physique. And I'm like, okay, now it's legit. Like I can think it in my own brain all I want, but it's like when then your bro comes in and he's like, bro, you look fucking sick. I'm like, damn, like that's it's very validating. I think we validate each other a lot.
Dude, 100%.
It's like, you know what I mean? Like this guy's he fucked me up a lot in BJJ. Like for me, like to realize like fuck man, this is the level I need to be on in order to compete. And I wouldn't know that if he didn't kick my ass. Like I used to come home with like scars on my face because this guy was fucking me up straight up, and it made me learn my lesson. Like this guy broke my toe. That's another thing I want to talk about quickly. Like this guy broke my toe by taking my back. Like he jumped on my back. I'm like a bit bigger than this guy. This guy jumped on my back and was hanging off me like a fucking sloth. And I fell backwards and my toe got stuck in the mat and it like hyperextended and it like blew up. It was like purple and I couldn't walk for like 3 weeks. And, you know, instead of being like whatever, I was like, next time don't get your back taken. Next time be quick enough that this guy ran around me. Like, I'm like, how'd you even do that, bro? Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, you were in front of me, now you're behind me. I don't understand. It's like, you know, so many life lessons that, you know, we've taught each other, bro. 100%. And I can't appreciate you enough, bro. Like, that definition of Team Bionic was, I almost cried. I was trying not to cry, but.
I sucked a few tears back in.
Yeah, so, because, like, realistically, bro, like, that's crazy to have started my fitness journey with you and to see, you know, what we've created today and what we've manifested today is pretty fucked up because 9 years ago, if you told me I would have had my own brand and I wouldn't be working for anyone and I'd own a gym and I'd, you know, be having out my friends to work out and with my own equipment that I paid for, I would have never believed you, bro.
And we're just getting started. That's the crazy part.
That's the crazy part.
That's scary.
And like you said, man, like looking back onto this podcast is going to be awesome. You know, that's why I wanted to start the podcast. Like you guys see in the description, the Bionic podcast is a platform for individuals to share their journeys, their experiences, and to inspire others. This guy's a fucking sick story. I resonate with this guy like no tomorrow. So this is why he was like the first podcast back with a guest. I will be doing some Zoom podcasts because we're still super strict here in Ontario, but I've been training with this guy. So I was like, you know what? I figure let's finally do our podcast after 1 year in the making. Let's do one more. Cheers, buddy, to some nice Italian espresso.
Cheers, buddy.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, bro.
Buddy, like and subscribe, everyone. You know what to do.
Yes, thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. Make sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on YouTube. Like I said, I'm trying to get this podcast to 100 subscribers. We're at 80 right now. Help us get us there. Let's go! That was one of the first podcasts we ever did together on Dark Horse MMA. Michael was like, you know, all flustered and he couldn't fucking talk in front of a camera. So he was like, yeah, guys, help us get us there. And then we only realized after it was on YouTube that this guy said, help us get us there. And then I was like, all right, from now on, I edited like 1 or 2 podcasts. So I had to throw some chirps in there. But guys, help us
get us there.
Let's go. Let's keep it going, bro. Thank you so much, my guy.
Love you.
All right. Love you too, buddy. Easy, guys.